And if I'm gonna have to be up there in the stands all the time, Matt, I might as well go down there, blow that whistle a little bit,
Yeah, instead of just yelling out stuff at the coach, you might as well be doing what you want, right?
Exactly, man. And that's what happened the first year or two. I'd be up in the stands and I'm like, oh, that coach don't know what is going on out here. Call timeout. And I'm coaching from the bleachers, and I hear all these parents, and I'm like, well, you can do something if you'll put at that registration, would like to coach. There's a very good chance that they'll let you coach. They need volunteers all the time. So I decided to make a change that way.
Nice.
All right, buddy, but we're live now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Mic, episode 2. We have a very special guest tonight. I started getting to know this guy from one of the podcasts that he hosts. He's a co-creator of. It's Dynasty Game Night. I'm not even sure if they still do it these days, but
we just recorded an episode. We just recorded one yesterday.
Yes. Hey, let me get the kid out of here. Sorry. Hey, this is live. Hey, could someone?
I'm coming.
All right. Hey, live show, folks. Live show. Okay. All right. Back to the show. Like I was saying, Dynasty Game Night. I believe you, Ryan McDowell, created that show. Right off the top, Matt, won't you tell everybody a little bit about Dynasty Game Night, about Dynasty League football, the place that you ride at, and also about the podcast that you host, Dynasty League Podcast.
Yeah, so I pretty much all of my work's at DLF or dynastyleaguefootball.com. I am lucky to be one of the co-hosts of the DLF Dynasty podcast, the longest running Dynasty focused podcast. I think we're up to like episode 400 and I don't know, 650 something, 450 something, 440 something, somewhere up there. It's been we've been at it for a while. So that's the main one I do. I do a little bit of writing. I've kind of gotten lazy as a writer ever since I started podcasting, to be honest with you. But I've got some more stuff coming soon in the written format. And then also Dynasty Game Night, you mentioned. I should mention DLF Dynasty podcast, obviously, with Ryan McDowell and Dan Myler, two giants.
Yes.
And I'm lucky enough to get to talk to those guys every week. That's like the best part of one of the best parts of my week, So, and then Dynasty Game Night with John Bosch and Russ Fisher, Dynasty Outhouse. We just play games on that show. One day in a Voxer League chat, John and I were talking. We like playing games, and I said, people listen to a game about a game, basically, right? So we just decided to do it, and people seem to like it. So that's a fun show. I think that's it. I used to do Superflex with Bobby Koch, but that is now not a thing anymore. So I do some stuff.
What about the Zookeeper podcast? I know it's in the bio, and I haven't got a chance to check it out. Is it available? Where is it available?
It is available. It's kind of, I guess I wouldn't say it's dead, but I haven't had a new episode in at least a year, I think. It got harder to get guests for that show, and honestly, when I started that, there was like not really any Zookeeper podcast, but now there's a bunch, so I don't feel like as obligated to go back and do it again. But basically, it was interviewing zookeepers about how they got their job, because we get the question every day, how do you get to be a zookeeper? And I was tired of answering it all the time in person, so I thought, let's make a show about it. So there's a resource for people that actually want to try to do this, and they can hear all the stories about how people got to do the job.
Right, and Zookeeper, I know people keep hearing us say that, so I guess we'll get right into Behind the Mic. And the first question right off the bat, Matt, what do you do for a living? For the people that don't know out there, buddy, what do you do for a living besides fantasy football?
My full-time job is as a zookeeper at I don't know if I should actually say the actual zoo, though. If you follow me at all, you'll know what zoo it is. Okay. But it's a large zoo, a large world famous zoo in the southwestern United States. You could probably figure it out. But I take care of all kinds of stuff there, from polar bears to giant eland and tapirs and lions and jaguars and bears. Maned wolves, lots of different species of gazelles and antelopes and things like that. So really cool variety in the area that I work in. And that includes everything from, just cleaning and feeding the animals to training, doing helping with veterinary procedures, administering medication and things like that. So basically just all aspects of their life. And then, you know, the other big part of it is enrichment. Basically, we have these animals in a less than ideal setting. Everybody knows that, right? But it's our job to kind of help not only take care of them physically, but engage them mentally and take care of their mental well-being as well. So a lot of like novel things that they have to, you know, they don't just get their food on a plate and then they're done in 30 seconds. And then, you know, what do they do for the rest of the day, right? So we're constantly providing different experiences for them. The polar bears, we just got snow for them not too long ago, trucked in 16 tons of ice and shredded it all over their exhibit. So animals all day, they're getting stuff done. So it's not just the basics like the cleaning and feeding and stuff like that. It's really like taking care of them and giving them a good life so they can be ambassadors that can, you know, make connections with people and make people care about animals.
Right on, buddy. And I've got some fan questions, aka my kids, 6 years old. Sloths. Do you have sloths? Sloth.
We do have sloths. Yeah, we have three-toed Linnaeus sloths of the zoo.
Okay.
There's a couple different varieties.
My daughter, she's the 6-year-old, borderline genius. And anyway, tapir. She wants to know about tapirs. She's a big fan of tapirs.
Yeah, me too.
Tapirs, Matt Price. And do you have tapirs at your zoo?
We do. We have Baird's tapirs, and we also have Malayan tapirs, which are my favorite. Those are the ones that are the black and white ones from Southeast Asia, basically. And then the rest of them, the other 4 species, are found in South America.
Awesome. And my son asked, what is the best way my dad can take us to a good zoo because he always picks the bad ones?
Well, okay. So my definition of
I guess he's asking, how can we identify if somebody don't go to the zoo every day? Yeah. Like what are some of the things that we might see on the website or, you know, word of mouth? What are some of the things that would for sure perk your ears as a good zoo there?
Yeah.
Man?
So I would say the easiest way to check, and this isn't true, there are good zoos that are not AZA accredited, but the best like kind of, you know, small filter to throw out there to filter out a lot of the bad ones, basically all of the bad ones really, is to go to aza.org, the American Zoological Association, and you can check to see if a zoo is accredited by that organization. Basically, it's an umbrella organization that makes sure zoos are maintaining certain benchmarks and standards of animal welfare and care and things like that. So that's a really good way to do it. And then, you know, some other like small tips, like if you see a place that offers elephant rides, it's not a good zoo. If you see a place that lets you take pictures,
not a good zoo.
Not a good zoo. Not a good zoo. Because it generally takes, you know, a lot of not necessarily great treatment of the animal to get them to a point where they're going to let you ride them, basically.
Right.
So anything like that, or if like it's a place that lets you take pictures with baby tigers or something like that, you know, like the tiger temples in Thailand. You know, I am not on any of the dating sites, but I hear from female friends that there's lots of people on there like taking pictures with baby tiger cubs and stuff like that from their travels in Thailand and things like that. So those things are those are not good zoos. Basically, if it's anything that like you can look at an animal and be like, this is clearly here for the zoo to make money on on their bottom line, right? Like this is not something that a normal person should probably be doing. Like if it's anything that kind of perks your ears up that way, or you know, makes you feel a little queasy, like that's probably a good sign that zoo is not necessarily in it for the animals' care, and it's there in it to make a buck.
So if we're leaning towards a little bit more of like maybe the big top circus instead of a zoo, then, you know, that's maybe not the best one to go to right now.
Correct. Yeah. I would stay away. I can't say this as a blanket statement for all circuses and the like.
I got you.
But for the most part, I would say they're not super great.
you ain't got to say it. That's what I'm on here for, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. And I heard you mention that you didn't have no kids.
Yeah.
And as a fan of yours, I know that here recently you had a new roommate. I hope
do.
That's going well.
It is.
Okay. And that leads me into my next question. You're in a relationship, and let's see. It's the big night, and you're out on the town, Matt, and you just realize, you know, that anniversary or that the day y'all met, or you know the women keep up with all these little dates. Okay. Well, you just realize that you're out on town. You got $25 to your name, Matt. $25. What are you doing? Are you going to cook? Are you going to get something to cook? Maybe a little present? Are you going to get tacos? Maybe a bigger present? What are you going to do with that $25 to make the night special? Matt Price.
I'm definitely going to cook something,
Yes.
and I would
Okay,
go.
like
I would. Her favorite drink is Dr. Pepper. It's like the only soda she will drink. So I'm definitely getting some Dr. Pepper.
Okay. Okay. I like it.
And she likes a lot of food. She likes fancy stuff. I'd probably make something like some like a couscous and like some grilled chicken or something,
Ooh, okay.
something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I will say I'm a bad influence on her. I have a much more unhealthy, I would say, diet than she does. So like the other night I made ribs, and the night before that I made like we made like a chicken casserole. This like quesadilla casserole thing, like okay. so I have a bad influence, but if it was her ultimate desire, it would be something pretty healthy, I would think.
But Matt,
Dr. Pepper, which is weird because it's Dr. Pepper and that's not healthy.
Do you like the couscous? Do you like it?
I like the pearled kind better. Like there's two different types. Yeah. So there's one type that's kind of like powdery almost. Like that stuff isn't as good as the pearled kind, which is more of like, I don't know, like it's not like a quinoa, but it's more of like it's got a little more bite to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Texture. Yeah. Wise. After we get off here, I'll send you the wife's recipe. She's huge on it. She loves it. It's a big thing at Thanksgiving and stuff. And that's all I heard about when we get met. And you got to try this couscous. And I'm like, well, I've heard of that, but I've never ate any, being from down here in the South, And I tried it, and I was just like, oh, it's like grits, not cooked.
Yeah. That's the one that's like grits. So the other kind, the pearled kind, is much different, and I think better.
Right, buddy. All right. Let's see here. And what vehicle do you drive, Matt? SUV? Car, truck? Are you much of a car guy?
I am. I wish I was more. I have a 2007 Jeep Wrangler that I've lifted and put big tires on. I like to go off-roading.
Okay.
I like to. Well, I guess more specifically, I like to go drive it to a place where there's no people and then camp.
Okay, well, you need to come on down, man. You need to load her up, buddy, and you need to come on down, buddy. I got hills galore. We got creeks. We got mud bogs. We'll just have a blast, buddy. We got
that sounds awesome.
3-bedroom cabin out back that y'all can just have at, and we can just have some fun, man.
That sounds fun. Yeah, there's not as many of those open spaces out here in California.
I bet. That's all there is here. If the logwoods, if the warehouser didn't get to it before you do, buy it up.
Right.
But okay, buddy. Let's see. We'll go right into the next topic. Okay. I got one for you here. Rank these three, or not rank them, but which is the better animated movie? This is another one by the kids here. Zootopia. Have you seen Zootopia?
I have seen Zootopia once.
All right. Zootopia, Ice Age, #1.
A long time ago, I probably saw it.
Okay. Or The Secret Life of Pets.
Did not see that one.
Okay. What about Open Season? That was the two they had there at the bottom.
No, I didn't see that one either.
Which one's better?
I'm going to say Zootopia. I'm going to say Zootopia. I like the sloth.
Right. Oh, man, it makes it, right? It makes it. Yeah, okay. All right, brother. Let's go top 3 songs of all time. I've asked people their favorite genre, favorite artist, and it usually goes to a lot more open questions. So I've changed it to the top 3 songs of all time, so everybody can maybe get their whole feel out there. So top 3 songs of all time, Ms. Price.
This is tough because I'm someone in general who has time. When somebody says, "What's your favorite X?" Like I'm like, well, it's this, but if this other thing happens, then it's this. So I'm gonna give 3. I don't know if they're necessarily my top 3 of all time, but they're 3 that I very much like, and I would say represent some of my listening. So I would say NWA's "Express Yourself."
Oh, I like it. All right, okay.
And then Radiohead's "Paranoid Android."
Oh, that's a Radiohead song there that is not well, or it's not in the public eyes. The other radio, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a jarring, like, I don't know, introduction to that album, I think. Anyway, like
Yes,
it had
I
a
agree.
big impact on me at that time. OK Computer in general had a big impact on like a lot of my listening or my music tastes. And then the last one is a band called LCD Sound System. I don't know if anybody knows
I
that
love.
one. They're
I
you know, I
got
wouldn't
that.
say
Yep.
they're probably not. I don't know. They're not gigantic, I guess, but they're not obscure either. But the song from is called "All My Friends." It kind of starts out with like kind of like a Bob
Yes.
O'Reilly feel to it,
Mhm.
which was again another song that kind of influenced my, I guess, current musical taste. That, you know, early mid 2000s, the kind of the indie rock, electronic kind of hybrid music,
Right.
stuff like that. So
Right. The sound system guy, they're big up there in the Northeast, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Right? Around the Boston
New York.
area up there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If anybody hasn't heard from about them yet, for sure check out them.
Oh, they're so good. I got to spend a couple of years ago. I went out to do some jeeping out in Colorado and planned the whole vacation around seeing them in Red Rocks Amphitheater there and
Yes.
outside of Colorado Springs. Man, that place is awesome. If you ever get a chance to see a show there, do it.
I seen Coheed and Cambria there.
Oh,
Coheed.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh yes, and it was them, Kings of Leon. Great show at the. Oh,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. All right. So we got songs out of the way. We are going to go. So you're a zookeeper. So do you have any animals? Like, do you live in a house or an apartment that allows you to have any animals, Mr. Price?
Yeah. My girlfriend has a black lab, so that's our pet.
Okay.
The great thing about having a dog that's not yours is that you get all of the fun parts of the dog and none of the like responsibility.
That's right.
So I'm probably a bad influence on all of.
It was a question that me and the wife were talking about. It's like, he must have 1,000, pets at the house, and I was like, or he has all of his pets there at the zoo, so we don't have to bring them home.
I do have friends that are like, I have one friend specifically I'm thinking of that has is a big into reptiles. So like at home, he has, I don't even know how many, he breeds snakes and stuff. And to me, it's like, I just took care of animals all day. I don't want to come home and take care of more animals. And there's actually a kind of a joke that zookeepers typically have the least well-behaved dogs because we do training and cleaning and stuff all day, and the last thing we want to do when we come home is train another animal.
Right,
So
yeah. That was my take on it. Okay, buddy. And what was the lab's name?
The lab's name is Olive. She's 9.
Olive. Okay, cool. All right, buddy. And I got a super or sucks segment that I list off some stuff here. You just simply say super or suck. You can talk about it a little bit after we answer them. But anyway, here we go. Super or suck. Pickles.
Super suck.
Super
oh wait,
suck.
Sorry. Yeah, double suck.
I
double
got you.
suck.
I got you. Okay.
They ruin everything.
Price, not a pickle guy. Okay. Crunchy peanut butter.
See, I don't feel there either. I'm right in the middle there. I'll say super, but I would choose smooth if I had the choice.
Okay, all right, because I'm familiar with people that tote that line. It's either smooth or crunchy,
right.
And there ain't no in between. It's. But
okay, I guess I'm crunchy flexible.
Flexible. Okay, that's all right. I like that. All right, buddy. Next one we are going to get into, I'm going to list, just give you a few little questions here. And hot dog, sandwich or not?
Not a sandwich.
Not a sandwich. Hot dog, not a sandwich. Your cereal goes first or the milk goes first, Mr. Price?
Cereal first.
Cereal first, then milk. Okay.
Cereal, then milk. I know there's some crazies out there that do it the other way and splash milk all over the place, but
bone in, bone out, chicken.
Bone in.
Bone in. Okay, bro. Favorite alcoholic beverage?
I'll go. I'll go with a White Russian.
Oh man, I like a White Russian myself.
Can't drink it all the time, but it's delicious.
I like a White Russian myself. All right, buddy. That concludes the segment of Rapid Fire. And we'll get into a little bit more about yourself. What's the first sports memory, Matt, that maybe you remember that you realized that, oh, I'm into this? Or was it maybe your favorite team that you fell in love with that maybe led to your passion of fantasy football? What was that first moment? Can you remember it, Price?
Man, I was thinking about this, and it's really hard to pull like the earliest like memories. There was like they really got me into it when I was younger. My brother and my father and I I grew up in Florida for a part of my life, and my dad was a Miami Hurricanes fan. My brother was a Gators fan, and just to be different, I was a Seminoles fan because I couldn't like the same thing as my brother and my dad, right? Yeah. So I remember, having very fond memories of watching early FSU games, Charlie Ward and guys like that. In terms of other sports, like I was actually my first love was basketball, and my dad was in the Navy, so I really liked David Robinson, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, and I remember we had to wait for him to go serve his term or whatever, and he came back and was like, he's finally going to play basketball. So and then as far as football goes, I wasn't really into pro football much actually until I think it was my freshman year of high school. We had moved to Wisconsin, and everybody there, it was obviously just so Packers crazy, right? So like you kind of get sucked into it. So right. Brett Favre and Sterling Sharp, or excuse me, Sterling Sharp, Mark Tamura and those guys. It kind of really got me into it, and then I ended up going to Berkeley for college, where Aaron Rodgers went. So it just kind of stuck, and now I'm a Packers fan that lives in San Diego, and I get crap for it all the time. Like, why the heck are you a Packers fan? You live in San Diego. It just happened to be like that time in my life where that's where I started really watching professional football.
I feel you, buddy, and I know what you mean about the brothers liking one thing and you got right up like the other. I had a bunch of cousins, and all you hear around here is Cowboys. Cowboys. And
it just gets old. You don't want to hear it anymore.
It's old. Dad had a job in San Bernardino, California. I went to San Bernardino, California. I watched Todd Bowles make a play in the secondary. Fell in love with the 49ers. Nice. Started fake swimming at the little hotel pool, and dad's workers would get off of work and they'd give me $5 to swim from one end of the pool to the other, so I'd act like I couldn't swim, Price, and that's how I bought my gear, buddy. That's how I bought that Ronnie Lott jersey, baby. That's Steve Young jersey, buddy. That Montana. That's how I fell in love with them Niners.
Got that side hustle early.
Side hustle, buddy. That's what you had to doggy paddle real fast, make a lot of splashes. So you might need help, but they think you got it. All about getting that money. All right, buddy. So I heard you say football, basketball. Who's your NBA team?
I don't really follow it that much anymore. Okay. But it was the Spurs for a long time, just because I like David Robinson and then Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and those guys. And then I kind of fell out of it. When I really started like doing more heavy into fantasy football, I didn't really have enough time for other sports, and that's where my attention was. So it kind of fell off. I still will watch like the playoffs and things like that, but now I just kind of root for the fun storylines and the teams that are fun to watch and that kind of stuff. So I would say I'm still a Spurs fan, but I probably couldn't tell you their starting lineup. So I'm obviously not that big of a fan.
I've with baseball now, the MLB. Yeah. It seems like it's so much call up, call down. I can't keep up with it all, and even my NBA has came to highlights. Just last night's highlights. Yeah. That's how I watch the game. I'll keep up with today's stars. I'll see how them Ball brothers are playing ball and so on. But that's about the gist of it. And You
Just
know,
not
and
time, man.
it's
Like
just not time. Just
like
not time. Yeah.
the NFL is great. I mean, and I basically don't move on Sundays from the couch, you know. So I feel like I'm already using an entire day literally for the sport, and now I've got to watch a team that's playing 2 or 3 times a week. It's just too much. And I don't even have
Right.
kids, so I don't know how you guys with kids do it. Like I have no idea like how like
Man.
Ryan and Dan do it and you do it. Like I feel like I don't have enough time and I have no kids to speak of. So
that's not to mention, the head of cattle that I got out there, and
yeah,
the chickens
exactly.
and the ducks and the guineas and the goats and the hogs,
Yeah.
So my Sundays consist of having to get all that done so I can sit around the house. And
Right.
man, it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot. You
does.
see that tip off NBA season, you're just like, oh no, ain't got time for you today.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, I see we are at 25 minutes. I like to keep these about 30 minutes. Something that maybe people can catch on their lunch break. Something that people can pull up and watch whenever they got a few minutes. Maybe they're waiting their turn in line, get their hair cut or something like that. I like to pull these shows on and get to know the person behind the FF mic. And Price, I've followed you for a long time, man. From Dynasty Game Night. And, the zookeeper. I've always known the zookeeper, but I've never came face to face with you and had you on the show. So, thank you first and foremost for coming on to my little shtick here, man. And second of all, killing it. And before we get out of here, please plug your outlets. I know you're a senior writer at Dynasty League Football, and y'all have y'all's own thing going over there where you just go to dynastyleaguefootball.com and click on the website, and you'll have your podcast there, all the articles there, and that's also where you find the live shows or the podcast, right?
Yeah, you can find them there. Yeah, you can find them there, and then anywhere you get your podcast, we actually have. You can either use follow the individual shows, or we have the DLF family of podcast feed that has all of the shows on it. So kind of your choice there. But yeah, everything I do is at DLF or on Twitter at Matt Price FF. I guess I could talk about real quick a couple of cool things at DLF if you're not a subscriber. We have some really cool tools there. Two of my favorite ones are the Trade Analyzer and the Trade Finder. Trade Analyzer, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with trade calculators. Ours is a little bit unique in that it pulls in actual trades from MFL that have taken place. It pulls in our expert rankings. It pulls in a bunch of different data sources, our ADP, all of that stuff. It kind of mixes together and gives you a value. And then with the Trade Finder, you can look at like actual trades that are going down on MFL. So you'll be able to see, what players are actually going for instead of just this, this made up number that a calculator spits out at you, right? So you can see actual things that are going down and kind of get an idea of what players are moving for. So those are two of my favorite ones, but we have all kinds of cool new tools there. We're cutting up tape for the 2021 rookie season, all that kind of stuff. So kind of a one-stop shop.
Right. And I guess this is as good a time as any to go ahead and mention the sponsor of Behind the Back, myfantasyleague.com, the most customizable fantasy site in the game. You can have your fancy little laser beams and mascots. I'll take the most customizable fantasy site in the game, and that's myfantasyleague.com. Sponsor and contributor of Oklahoma Doug since the jump, and most of my leagues are held on My Fantasy League. That's all my charitable leagues this year. Matt, I'll get a hold of you after we get off here. I'm setting up a coordinator league, and what it is an offensive coordinator will run the super flex, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, and then the defensive coordinator will run your IDP, your defensive line, your linebackers, your DBs, and we'll see what coordinators can win it all.
Man, I need one of those. I need a defensive coordinator.
And Matt, I actually need an offensive coordinator. So maybe the zookeeper can meet the country here. And we can make something mingle. So everybody look out for that. Coordinator league coming out at myfantasyleague.com. Thanks again for sponsoring Behind the Mic and sponsoring Oklahoma Duck. So before we get out of here, everybody follow at Matt Price on Twitter, at Matt Price FF, and or just search the Zookeeper. I mean, there can't be too many of them that's in the fantasy world. At least, you know, we tend to we tend to stick to our bubbles. You know, so Matt, thanks so much for coming on, man. Thanks for you know, taking time out of your day. Anything to say before we go here?
No, thanks so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for the invite. I guess I will say, as I say at every show I go on, add a charity component to your league. I know you do a lot of that stuff too, Doug. I do the Red List Leagues, which donates money to wildlife conservation charities every year.
Yes.
And I might be starting a new one of those. So if you're looking for a new league and like animals,
hit me up, buddy.
Keep your eyes open. But yeah, I will. Thanks again, man.
Hit me up. We'll share that, and we'll get these charity leagues filled. I'm glad you said that, man. It's something I do every year now. You know, through the sponsor of my fantasy league, is create one of these. Just, you know, last year it was a Golden Ticket Gala, where you know, it was all about Willy Wonka and the chocolate conference and the fruit conference, and
Nice.
I mean, I believe the team name was the Three Musketeer Whiteheads. I fantasy name not right there. I believe that's something. That might be a clue for the next one, man. All right. Well, anyway, this is Oklahoma Doug. That's at Matt Price, and this is LCD Sound System, and this is Behind the Mic, episode 2. See you next time. We're out. You check the charts. Oh, gotta hit it twice.